Hello, everyone. Today, we're back into another top 5. And we're going to be talking about the top 5 most boring Loomians in all of Loomian Legacy. Every time you use these Loomians in PvP, you just feel bored out of your mind. So, let's head right onto this list. Number 5 on the list is going to be Ventolin. Ventolin is one of the best ranged tanks in the entire game. It's a pure toxic type, which is a great defensive typing, but with its great range bulk makes battles absolutely boring, considering the fact that almost everyone runs a Ventolin on their team. There are other ranged tanks in the game that can be used, but none of them are as efficient as Ventolin. Not to mention that it also has barter and heavy shackles. This was in my last top 5 most boring Loomians, but I think it was ranked too high. It's still very boring, but there are quite a few different ways to run it. That's why it's not in the top 3 anymore, and only number 5. It's still relatively boring to use, but overall not as boring as what it was in the past. It's still relatively boring to use though, and there's not really too much to say as it's already shown on screen. This thing is a range tank that can rejuvenate, and that's kinda it. It's probably the most reliable range tank in the game, and that's why it's number 5 on the list. Number 4 on the list is going to be Terashino. This is basically Ventolin, but probably worse. It has melee defense as well. It hits solidly hard, has bulk up, and just like Ventolin, has rejuvenate. Also, like Ventolin, it has only two weaknesses, which is Brawler and Mine. Not to mention that it has an ability to make it tank super effective hits better. You could also run Stretch, Bulk Up, Bequeath, and this is one of the best Bequeath Loomians in all of Loomian Legacy. But all this thing does is tanks hits and plays in stall matches. And I think everyone knows that stall matches aren't fun. And lots of stall teams have a Terashino on that team because it's so bulky and can pretty much live hits on any Loomian in the game. Terashino is really boring, and even though it doesn't have any annoying aspects, it's still really boring to use, and that's why it's on the list. I would put it higher, but there's nothing really bad about Terashino. It's just really boring and not the most fun Loomian to use, especially compared to any other tank you could use in Loomian Legacy. And that's why Terashino is number 4 on the list. So yeah, number 3 on the list, and of course this Loomian would be up here. To Clips. More immunities than weaknesses. Wow. I'm so ecstatic right now. Not to mention it has Dark Surge, meaning you can flinch opposing Loomians. Not only to Clips is a boring Loomian to use, it's also a really annoying Loomian to go up against. A lot of people don't like to Clips, including me. It also has one of the best offensive typings in the entire game, meaning you can pretty much hit anything for neutral damage. You can't even counter Eclipse with the Eclipse because it has Raging Howl. And while Total Eclipse recently got nerfed, it still doesn't matter, considering that you could still hit any Loomian in the entire game, and if hit by a light or dark type move, you get a speed boost to outspeed everything. And that's why Eclipse is on every single team, and that's why Eclipse is so boring to use. So yep, Eclipse, it was on our last list, and it's still here on this list. And it definitely deserves to be at number 3 on the list. So, number 2 on the list, it's actually going to be Boonairy. On my last list, Boonairy wasn't up there. That is absolutely criminal because this thing is extremely boring. I mean, all you do with it is swap it in on a Loomian and you become that Loomian. And since Boonairies usually run specialty boots, it means that you will outspeed them and you can sweep the opposing Loomian in return. It's the most brain dead Loomian in the entire game. Someone can get up to +3, and then you become that Loomian, and then you could sweep them in return. It's kind of BS, at least compared to other tanks. At least with Wobulus, it doesn't become the opposing Loomian. It just tanks hits in general. With Boonairy, it uses a mechanic that can be extremely annoying, especially for the tons of setup sweepers which are in this game. And that's why it's the second most boring Loomian in the entire game. The most boring Loomian in the entire game is Obsidian. Wow, this thing is number 1. I am so shocked. I mean, this thing is boring. We had Tundrolin on the list last time, but while Tundrolin is still boring, it is not as bad as Obsidian. Oh my goodness. Beast Slumber gives it its health back. It also gives it a melee and ranged defense increase. It can live multiple hits from a Gargolem attack form. It can live hits from +6 Avatrosses and +5 Blowtoxes, which is really annoying. Not to mention, since Obsidian is so good, it's pretty much almost on every single competitive team. And even with Resilience nerf, Obsidian is still one of the most annoying Loomians in the entire game. Yet it's only A tier on a lot of people's tier lists, so I don't know how that makes any sense at all, because Obsidian is the most overpowered Loomian in the entire game. It's also extremely boring to use, and it's absolutely annoying to go up against. So Obsidian deserves number 1 for being the most boring Loomian in the game. And here it is, Obsidian, the most boring Loomian in the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This video was definitely very boring to make. Happy April Fool's Day. And I will see y'all all later. Bye bye.